4 teams that are at the bottom of the table, anytime there's a new patch, a new meta, is an opportunity to get one step ahead of the curve. If you can figure something out before your opponents, even if they can play it better than you, it doesn't matter. You can get some wins with those strategies, with those picks, hopefully before your opponents actually pick up on that. And one of the things that people always praise Reignover for is for how smart of a player he is. This guy's still, considered by junglers as one of the smartest pathing junglers, as one of the smartest and kind of best junglers in the early game because of all the pre-planning he can do. And if he can actually take that and figure out some of these new jungle routes that we've been seeing, things like the Maokai super leashes and things that you could do with Cho'Gath and some of these new tank junglers, maybe he could succeed.
Well, I have to think so, but up against My King is a tough ask. Also a very smart, cerebral player. Bans have started to hit though, so Kalista and Nara, actually the first 2 target ones from P1, with Zac and Caitlyn, kind of more of your red side standards there from Liquid. Gragas will actually be the last one there for Phoenix, 1A champion there. We didn't see too much of in the last series, but it's certainly huge amount of presence around the world.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's one of those champions that is a flex, top end jungle. Lorlo and Reignover both have been known to play it, so makes some sense there. But Maokai and Cho'Gath both are on the table here. I feel like Cho'Gath ban is a little bit weird, but I mean, because you are giving up the ability to first pick Maokai and then you can't respond. Like, why would you not just not ban either of them when you're going to leave the Maokai up anyway, and then try to take the Cho'Gath as a response? Because Cho'Gath is a flex pick. It's one of the best champions in the game right now in both top and jungle. So to me, that's a major head scratcher. Like, you can say, oh, well, they don't want to play it. Well, why don't you know how to play, one of the best champions in the game right now? Why are you not playing that?
Reignover played Maokai yesterday. He definitely knows how to play it. Well,
I'm saying the Cho'Gath.
Oh, yes, that's true too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Tough one, certainly. Phoenix one. It's not the first time they've exploited someone in draft, with Cho'Gath kind of being that pick in contention. So first pick Maokai for them, Thresh, and at least the answer there for Liquid. So we seem to have discovered at least the potential answer here for Liquid. We're just going to beat you before it matters, which is a tough ask.
It is.
But that seems to be the plan as Tahm Kench gets locked in for Phoenix 1.
And I mean, Thresh still a premier bot lane, or at least still a very strong early game jungler. These are not bad picks, but it's just that looking at the strength of tanks and the fact that you could still have this lineup with the Cho'Gath top is something that makes you wonder a little bit. That being said, this is the draft they're going with, and we have to talk from there. I think that the Tahm Kench pick is extremely smart from Xpecial into both of the picks that have been shown. Not only is it going to be effective into any lane that is drafted from here, because the Thresh is so easily kind of answered by the Tahm Kench, it's also super good into the Elise. You can also eat people out of those cocoons, so I think very strong answer so far.
And there's actually Sivir for Team Liquid. I guess into the Jhin is maybe Pivot's thinking there.
Sivir also, I think, just rising in priority a lot because it's one of the carries that in the late game can actually deal with tanks, right? This is someone who can shred through the tanks, who can kind of offer that utility role, be able to actually clear out waves, as some players are kind of left with these teams that don't have as much wave clear, so he can kind of answer that. It can be a strong late game threat. I think it also works well in combination with tanks, giving them more ability to engage. So I think that Sivir can be pretty strong, and we've been seeing it a lot more this patch.
Certainly have, as Cassio is the first ban in this phase for Team Liquid. Phoenix 1's response comes to Leah. So mid lane is getting targeted here in this phase. Makes sense, given that neither one has picked one up. Talia's certainly been a big pick for both Golden Glue and Pyrian, and Cassio in general tends to be rising in priority.
Yeah, LeBlanc's still on the table. If either one of these mid laners wants to go for it, that is something that is still considered a quite high priority. Talia, obviously very high priority here too, so LeBlanc going to be taken off the table, as is the Cassiopeia. It's interesting to see that Liquid wants to go for that route. To me now, that's kind of showing that they probably want to just like pick an Orianna or something like that, like right here as their next pick out of this round. We'll see if Phoenix 1 is going to ban that away, because I think that Orianna does add more wave clear, more consistent DPS and protection for the Sivir, and you're setting yourself up for a very powerful composition with the addition of one of those top lane tanks.
Nice to see Gallia being banned. Certainly has dropped off a lot, but in the mid lane, we do see him every so often, and Golden Glue has shown a lot of good games on the champion. I think Team Liquid, though, are going to have to show us something here. I imagine they're trying to counterpick top lane, but if they want to save it for mid, they can do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can go either route. I think Orianna makes so much sense, as I was saying here, with those bans and with the composition that they're drafting. And now you have multiple forms of speed up. You have a very powerful team composition already coming together. All they need is a tank. There are still some of those, obviously, left in the pool that they could go for. You can obviously go for kind of more of these fighters too that can kind of function in that role. Something like a J4 top can be pretty strong, I think, in this composition for TL. For Phoenix One now, they have to kind of decide, what is our answer? What are we going to be looking for? Corki, I think, can match up pretty well in the mid lane against the Orianna. It also, I think, is a pretty solid choice in addition to the Jhin, because Jhin is one of those champions in the bot lane that is not really high consistent DPS. It's more about the burst, and Corki can really kind of shore up some of those gaps.
I think so, as well as Corki there for Purion, a Kayn hover.
Could be Kayn jungle, right? Like, this could still be Maokai top lane. So that is one of the things that makes this pick so powerful, is it always is able to be flexed, and not going to be Kayn just yet.
Mike Young playing with our hearts after suffering some losses to it yesterday. Has some fun by flashing a pick, but looks like it's a standard for him with Lee Sin getting locked in as P1's final one.
Yeah, so it's essentially just double marksman type composition. Very little damage from the rest of the squad, but they have utility, they have engage. Can be a pretty powerful comp. For Liquid now, I'm expecting something like a J4. Honestly, in the top lane, you can go some other routes. Like, there is still Shen available if you want a pure tank and things like this, but I think J4 makes more sense for the engage alongside the Orianna, you know, give that ball delivery system. And I actually really like the Team Liquid composition. I do favor them coming out of the draft, I think, here. And I think that P1, while their composition can certainly work and can be strong, it's like there's a lot of threats and there is a lot of damage coming out of TL that can shred through the front line, which can kind of make it tough, I feel like.
I think so as well. I mean, it will be kind of interesting to see exactly how the early game develops moving into mid, because I think both these teams, obviously, like any competition, you can snowball pretty aggressively. Phoenix One, to me, I don't mind their comp, but it feels like not the same robustness that I see in a lot of these Maokai-based comps. Corki, to me, kind of in a weird flux spot at the moment, given how many changes have happened in the metagame. He's not a huge tank buster, but he's decent at it, and he's kind of vulnerable to assassins, and then still kind of just splits every other control lane matchup. So curious to see what's kind of happening here. I think TL did drop very well moving into that Orianna pick, because for me, if you ban like this, you're basically telling Purion that he doesn't play Syndra, trusting in that your information on your opponent is correct, knowing that this pick is safe, and then kind of developing the rest of the draft from there.
I especially think that P1's composition can be very strong in the early and mid game. I think that is really where I favor them most. But when you look at like 6 items and stuff, like Sivir and Orianna, champions like this are going to provide so much threat and so much damage that it can be really tough for P1. But the mid game, very strong for them. You can move around the map with Tahm Kench. You can look to create fights with the Jhin ultimate in combination with the Maokai and the Lee Sin. Like, that is very, very powerful. So I think they certainly have their opportunities to actually create these picks and create these fights, and we'll see if they can do that, or if TL can kind of just hang on and look for one of those late game wins.
Well, we'll see. TL certainly kind of ground through their series yesterday, but managed to pull out the surprising win for them. You know, not a whole lot to lose for this team at this point. Yes, trying to climb out sort of those bottom spots, but certainly, there are times where to really shake things up, it is here in the back of the season. P1, I think maybe a little more on the line for them at this point. Obviously, both teams do want to win, but P1 have to be thinking, it would suck to just not even get a chance to play at Worlds, and that is the reality if you don't make it to 8th or better. Yeah,
you lose those championship points if you go into the promo relegation tournament, so that is what you're talking about. Obviously, both teams really do not want to get relegated. I mean, we saw how much TL was willing to do, you know, bringing in Double, bringing in all these players, trying to not get relegated last split. I'm not sure if there's going to be any crazy last-minute kind of swaps for them if they are facing down that prospect. But P1 still theoretically can make Worlds, right? With the way that they're playing, it's certainly not likely, but they want to keep that chance alive. They want to continue to look to improve and have that as a goal.
I think, again, for P1, you have to have had such an interesting arc as an organization since joining the NALs, but particularly given their performance last spring, which is what's giving them all these points they're trying to hold on to. I mean, Arrow is that player that was the MVP last split, and with very good reason. It's been just a rough road for P1, to say the least.
But I mean, even given their Rift Rivals performance, right?
Yes.
Like, there was a lot of hype going into Rift Rivals, a lot of hype coming out of Rift Rivals, and that has somewhat dissipated as it just seems like, well, okay, I guess you just aren't able to actually perform at that level here. Plus, Ryu is kind of, you know, taking a break. He's taking a step down. whatever's going on there. So there certainly have been some changes for the team, and I think that has made things probably more difficult as well, but they just have not really shown up to the level that people I think were expecting from them after some of their really great performances, against Immortals and at Refractors.
Yeah, and there does seem to be a bit of variance there for the P1 squad, turning back into a bit of a pumpkin since returning, but we'll see if they can rise once again. Looks like a Super Leash was the deal there for Mike Young. Rainover with more of a classic standard clear on the blue side, but both farming at a pretty good pace. We'll see if Mike Young gets aggressive with this early timing.
Yeah, I mean, getting that Super Leash can actually be very important when you have so much gank assist, especially when you're looking at the top lane. Maokai and Jarvan very easily able to set up ganks for both of these junglers, and Rainover maybe gonna smite that away.
Gets it.
Get it, but I mean, he doesn't have a red buff. He can't fight.
Repels back out of the way on Superior, and Golden Glue actually going to stand and fight instead. Heal already burnt by the Corki. Golden Glue ghosting forward, trying to get something done. Mike Young gets the tag, but Lawler's down here already. Mike Young looking to make the heroic play, but a great kick in for Rainover. Gives Golden Glue first blood.
Oh, yeah, and Mike Young not able to actually utilize a flash to try to flash over and dodge that or anything. Didn't actually think. I think that the Cocoon was back up just yet. Thought he could get in there, maybe trade out his life, but get the first blood. Instead, they don't even get a kill. Golden Glue gets double buffed.
Might have get a solo kill
Period could die here. He could look for the flash. We'll see if he goes for it.
Might save him. He's going to do so. Last auto. Not quite enough to kill him. I think Thunderlords was on cooldown, because otherwise Pyrian was toast.
Oh, that's just brutal. And a lot of it came down to the fact that Lorlo had the push. He could make their own faster. Rainover pretty brave, actually, spending all his spells on that scuttle, and he doesn't even have a red buff, so he's kind of opting into this, but Golden Glue getting over here faster. I think Golden Glue played this fight very, very well, despite being level 2, got a very good chunk on his opponent, and yeah, the roam coming down from Lorlo, that really did make the difference.
Yep, that one little bit of CC at level 2 from J4 was enough to give Golden Glue first blood, and TL up to 1,000 gold lead already, which is massive this late in the game, especially because Piglet is stomping the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow is struggling now.
Oh, hello! All right, Matt rides in for the double, but not enough value there. His special does get a devoured just in time for Arrow to avoid most of that damage. Still, the CS difference is not pretty here in the bot side.
No, and I mean, this is something that can be recuperated, but it's never a good feeling to be off to a start like that. When you just lost first blood on the top side of the map, now your bot lane is pretty behind, now you're getting invaded by Rainover. These are all things that can kind of lead to those feelings of frustration. Neither jungler with Smite right here.
Rainover though with the red buff, Mike Young lost his to Golden Glue.
Reset.
And Krugs are back to their camp. Hook lands, great little one onto Arrow, but special with another good devour.
Yeah, Tom gets so annoying, and Rainover now, if your lanes are winning, all you really want to do is kind of waste the other jungler's time. So he's willing to kind of play around with Mike Young a fair bit there. He has Moby Boots now all the way up to mid lane. Pyrian could be in some trouble.
Does have his flash, but Rainover is kind of tracking him around the other side of the wall.
Corralled.
He's going up towards that top side where Lolo is currently fighting Zig. Does Valkyrie away, but Rainover is going to keep chasing here. Why not? As Pyrian going to maybe have to burn that summoner. Does finally use it. TL able to force it.
Yeah, and chased out of mid lane again. So going to be losing some of this experience here. Bot lane still shoving. Maokai did not actually make the roam. Zig just decided to go back to base, and that may be the smarter choice to just kind of prioritize his lane from here. Does glide that early Glacial Shroud, and we'll see what he's going to build into. You do have some options. Can go straight towards Righteous Glory, which can be pretty powerful if you're saying, hey, we need to win mid game, we need to have really powerful engage. That's a very strong first buy. But obviously, there's a lot of options there. You can go towards Iceborne, you can go towards the Frozen Heart, so we'll see what he does.
Mike Young visiting bot lane now, actually in mid, does take out the controller that he was sitting on. That Golden Glue got the wave in a nice spot, and just kind of sitting on his lead right now. A very early lost chapter, getting those double buffs from the first blood, so he is real far ahead of his lane opponent.
Yeah, and he's going to be getting his blue buff pretty soon here too, so he's never really going to have that window where Corki is going to be able to kind of bully him because the Orianna runs out of mana. That's one of the advantages that Corki sometimes has. As this AD carry with Warlords, you push him in, you kind of bully him out, you allow him to go out of mana, and that's when you can kind of maybe make him have an awkward buy timing or something. But that's never really going to come to fruition.
Good hook onto it special this time around. Can't devour himself as Piglet.
I don't know if he should go in there.
Damage. Matt did follow the hook, but Piglet actually just fighting in front of them. Did spell shot a little early, but the bouncy grenade gives him some mana back.
That seemed like P1 maybe could have actually fought. Like, with 2 stacks on Piglet and the spell shield down, if Special was actually able to get that 3rd stack on him with the exhaust, you can eat him up, and that's usually a 1 fight. They still have all summoners available, but definitely a little bit nervous, I think, of where Rainover could be, because if Rainover gets Lantern in, that fight goes to disaster. And being down this heavily on CS obviously sucks, but it's recoverable. It's not recoverable if you're then this far behind and then die, you know? That's where it can be pretty much lights out.
Golden Glue again continuing to bully here. Level 6, so threatening Pyrion with a potential ultimate, especially if Valkyrie is down. Looks like some recalls will happen in the bot side though. Piglet going to go back and grab a BF sword as Golden Glue keeps harassing here. And one little thing that I haven't seen too much of, actually that coin onto Thresh. Coin is certainly bumped up in value so much, but for a while it did feel like Targon was
Gank assist.
Remember though, up here on the top side, Zig already in trouble as well. Starts it off, does trap him though. Great kind of mini immune there on the ultimate, and Zig goes down to Rainova. Really well played by Lolo.
Yeah, I mean, Zig played it pretty well, but there's just no way you're getting out of that gank unless you have early warning. And one of the things you need to really do on a Maokai is throw your saplings in every brush that they can enter, right? You take the time to actually walk out, and if you have a sapling in tri-brush, then not only do you get the big slow on the junglers as they try to come in, you get the early vision, and you can maybe walk out of that, because once they're already on top of you, there's actually no escape. So the mistake from Zig was simply not getting out and actually having the pre-warning.
Golden Glue commits his ultimate to mid lane, but enough to harass Pyrion out of the way as they look to steal this blue. Golden Glue will get it, but collapses here. Lola here first, so onto Mike Young. The cocoon is going to go away, but Mike Young already going to go down. Repel is enough to follow. That ward, I believe, to help Rainova hop over, but Mike Young flashes smartly and gets away.
Yeah, the missed cocoon there does mean P1 gets out, and that's a couple summoners blown. For TL, Flash on Rainover and Golden Glue both committed. And here's the play again, as you can see. No sapling in that tri-brush. He does have a pink ward down in the river, but it's way too late. By the time he actually sees Rainover, there's no escape whatsoever. So need to get out there, prioritize the early vision with the saplings or with a trinket ward. Because to me, that is one of the biggest strengths of Maokai top lane, is it's actually so incredibly hard to gank if you always keep a sapling in the brushes that your jungler can approach from. Keep throwing them in the top lane brush, keep throwing them in the tri-brush. If they try to clear them out, then A, it can kind of tip you off, and B, it can chunk your top laner out.
Well, Zig didn't do too much of that, so finds himself with a death as Pyrion returns to mid lane. Again, continue being pressured here. Down about 20 CS as Golden Glue is going to return with his Sword Truth and then Amp Tome. Rainova starting another blue. Might just give this one to himself, given all the effort he's done early. Can't blame him, and of course Golden Glue has the one they stole, so Rainova doing a really good job using Elisa's early strength and really just playing around this map and giving TL some good leads. I mean, they're up almost, actually, yeah, pretty much up 2,000 gold as Pyrion forced to burn the package in mid lane.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for Pyrion. He was kind of a victim of circumstance, it feels like. You know, getting chased out of mid lane because that early fight went wrong and Mike Young gave over double buffs, then getting chased out to top lane again as Rainover came in and ganked him, and he's just been pushed out a lot. So it's not even really like he's like CSing poorly or anything per se, but he has ended up down a fair chunk of CS, and the first blood going over to Golden Glue, plus blue buff going over to Golden Glue and his getting taken away, means he's being put in a really hard to win spot, and it's good play from Rainover.
Yep, Golden Glue also kind of abusing his lead as much as he can, which is smart play there from the Orianna. Pyrion forced to farm as much as he can.
There they go.
Looking to get a roam into the backline. Blue's back young in, but Matt actually gets the hook down as the TP's are coming in from top lane. Kick back there on the mat as he's a little too far out. Gonna flash out of the way, try and get one down, but Mike Young taken up by Lolo, who used that ultimate special. Flashes through as the roots from Maka are gonna lock them all up, and now Golden Glue in a bit of trouble, but the Cocoon's gonna land onto special. Should be a kill. Golden Glue able to grab it as TL with a great collapse in the bottom lane.
Yeah, all 5 down the bot lane here for TL, and Pyrion could not make that roam. He's pushed in, he's out of mana, can't actually do anything about it, and TL off to a very strong start, looking to knock down this turret and really open up that gold lead even further.
Cocoon Lance hits on the Zig, but TL not going to go for the full undive. Piglet Lanterns out of the way. Still want to take out this turret if possible, but maybe overdiving there as Pyrion did roam back down. Golden Glue rotated himself back to mid, so the turret will stand for now. Yeah,
maybe you should have just focused on the turret instead of actually trying to move forward and pressure some of those members. But here is the play once more. Very good stuff, I'd say, from Piglet and Matt. Playing it very calmly. They see the dive coming in. Piglet moves over to the side, confident in his ability to spell shield. Doesn't actually really get anything, but Lorlo coming in first means they can clean up Mike Young, and then Rainover and Golden Glue are here very quickly. Mogu with Elise plus the ghosting Orianna make this a pretty heavily TL advantage play.
Easy stuff there for TL as they go extend the lead to 4 kills to nothing and 3,000 gold ahead now. And kind of just waiting for those first item completions to really finish. Golden Glue should be with his first item soon. Looks like Piglet might be a little further off depending on exactly how he wants to go about building either IE or some sort of ZL item. But regardless, everyone's doing very well here on the Team Liquid side. CS up in every single lane. Yeah,
I'd actually expect Essence Reaver from Piglet. I mean, he could go another way, but I think the Essence Reaver is so powerful, and he is building towards the IE, it looks like. So may want to just go straight up for that DPS build. But I think Essence Reaver is so ridiculously effective on the Sivir because the lower cooldown plus all the mana you're getting back means you can essentially spam out your spells non-stop. It gives you almost infinite wave clear, and having the low cooldown on your ultimate gives you a lot more utility and kind of teamfight engage.
Well, again, TL haven't quite found that first major objective just yet. There was a Cloud Drake available, but not the team that interested just yet. Team Liquid with their dive in the bottom side did not manage to take down that turret. Going to extend the laning phase for a little while longer as Zig runs in towards that mid lane. Ultimate going to get used, but should be pretty easy to get away from that one. Actually going to walk all the way out of it.
Yeah, not able to really get anything there, but it's a good try on the roam. You can see bot lane should be knocked down as it looked like P1 wanted to try to force a play around mid. I guess they did not feel like they could actually hold on to that bot lane turret, even if they were down there. So Tomcat was around mid lane, so was Lee Sin, perhaps expecting that TL would be ready for the bot lane play and then trying to force their own mid. Unfortunately, TL was actually around mid and means they lose bot lane first turret as well as getting nothing mid.
Yep, 4,000 gold up now for TL. And at this point, I mean, this is a huge lead that Liquid have built for themselves. And going to have to start looking, further into the game and just how efficiently can TL really accelerate this lead. Yes, I think they also have pretty good scaling advantage, so they'll be happy to sit back and slowly get a lead, but this is a team that's been playing with a lot of confidence so far this game as Mike Young looking to go on to Reignover. Missiles there, but great repel. Might save him as Matt. He's going to hook him back out. Special actually managing to save the truckler, but Mike Young already went down to the Ignite. Piglet rims it a little too far forward. Is forced to flash out of the way, but TL able to try and save him out there as the play back onto Special is going to get the kill for Golden Glue. Every time P1 try a play, TL are already on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're so far ahead right now, and they have been faster to these plays. So Mike Young not able to get the execution on Reignover because of a nice repel. And then despite Piglet kind of running through the team there, he's healthy enough, and he has protection from his team to actually survive.
Yep, does have that Infinity Edge now completed, so certainly looking for kind of a greedier build here and maybe snowballing a bit more aggressively. But P1 again tries something here onto Reignover. Do get the jump, but doesn't end up well for them.
They just don't really have enough damage, and it's almost the execution there. Corki was not actually in position, so Pyrian and Mike Young not really on the same play. All that Pyrian was able to contribute was that one rocket. I mean, had he been right there for, auto and a rocket or something, maybe they kill off Reignover before he can actually repel, but in any case, Reignover able to survive. They do lose summoners on Piglet, but going to pick up a couple kills.
Yep, from 4,000 to 5,000 gold. TL still up very significantly here in this game, and I have to see exactly where they start roaming around. Looks like they'll collapse to the Drake, because at this point, given how much of a lead you have, you might as well take it off the map, and if nothing else, get another one spawning and kind of see what you get after rolling the dice. They'll get Infernal, so rewarded for their play.
And it's a team that actually movement speed is pretty helpful on, right? You already have Moby Boots on 2 characters. This is going to allow you to move around the map that much more quickly. Elise and Thresh can be almost anywhere with those Moby Boots plus a Crowd Drake, and obviously going to be somewhat helpful for the rest of the team too, but those two in particular are really going to be looking to roam and be proactive.
Looks like Piglet is actually transferring to the top half of the map. 2 daggers joining in alongside that Infinity Edge, so looks like TL going to do the standard thing, but certainly the correct thing, I think, and to start sieging down some of those turrets. Golden Glue has a stranglehold on mid lane right now with a 25 CS lead.
And 3 kills, including first blood. I mean,
up a level.
Plus, they keep taking away the blue buff from their opponents, so it's very, very hard for Pyrian from here. And I mean, he's 16 minutes in on a phage, right? Like, when does he actually get his Triforce? When does he get to that point where you start being scared of this Corki? It's going to be so delayed. When you kind of have the ticking time bomb of this Sivir, who is going for a very, you call it kind of greedy build for that late game auto attack focused style, it's really scary because that guy is going to be able to shred through your front line.
Repelled over to Team Liquid. See where they do want to go use it. Piglet already getting worked on this turret. Just going to spell shield. Doesn't even bother. Just keeps hitting the turret. Make sure he stays in auto range. All he isn't able to defend that turret in the bot side. As Reignover missing a between there onto Zig. So P1 are just trying to make trades at this point, which is smart, but Reignover Empowered Recall going to get him back and try and save this turret.
Yeah, they're trying to not lose out on this trade. I mean, TL from this far ahead should not be taking a 1-for-2 turret trade, right? And if they even finish off the top side, which they do, they are able to get down there and defend using that Rift Herald recall from Rainover, so that is good for them. They at least keep it to an even trade, but you want to always be trading up, and we'll see what TL can do to actually set up this Rift Herald play. If they can get a kill, get a pick or two, you can sometimes cash in on double turrets, so look for them to try to make a play, especially around mid lane, where they could knock down multiple mid lane turrets and really cash in on that Rift Herald.
I think should at least be looking to take the mid outer with that Herald, so can have a couple minutes to set that all up. Piglet's still topside, at least for now. Pretty good spot for him to farm with the turret still there and a nice long lane against Demarkai. He's not going to offer too much resistance.
Here they go.
Looking for mid. Pyrian is the play, but every CC goes wide. In fact, maybe the counterattack on for P1, not quite yet, not feeling strong enough perhaps. Channel is in here for Rainover, so they're going to try it. Good Devour though by Xpecial. Kind of immuning the shockwave there from Golden Glue as he did threaten onto Arrow, but this charge should be enough. And TL, no pick, but they'll take the turret.
Yeah, 5 mid. I mean, they look for the pick because if you get that, you can maybe get a second turret, but they're at least securing that first one. You want to be able to guarantee that they do knock down that last outer on the map and extending that gold advantage.
With some Pyrian's time here as well, though. Pretty quick work of the Rift Herald. Again, just kind of keeping track of where Piglet is up to, still building in towards those 3 items. Now back down to the bottom side, looks like he's got full-time 1v1 against Maokai. TL just investing a lot into Piglet's farm in the side lanes, just trying to get him as far ahead as possible. P1 though playing catch-up, so TL can afford to kind of play this one a little slower, and like I said a few minutes ago, Infernal Drake is the next one, so TL have a very obvious point to go fight at in about 3 minutes time.
I think P1 is really hoping to complete some of their major items before that fight comes in. So we do see Pyrian now has that Triforce. So you have the Triforce, you have the Righteous Glory, you have a Duskblade. Like, when you can actually get to these relatively strong early item points, their best chance may be trying to force a fight and actually looking for something around that. See if they can get a really good engage with Maokai and maybe pick someone off. Because if you can get that first really quick pick with the Maokai and the Lee Sin and this Jhin ultimate, then the fight is essentially dead even or in your favor. And I think that's what P1 needs to look to do, because they don't want to just sit back and allow TL to scale unless they're super confident that TL is just going to make a mistake later.
Well, again, TL setting up for that next Drake. Minute 45 until that's going to spawn. Piglet is 2v1 right now as Matt just behind him as he gets some mana back from that sapling. I mean, Piglet has so much wave clear even with the static shift not done. As Rainover is actually down to that bottom side threatening on a Zig. Zig does W on, but Matt's going to line up that hook. Cocoon lands in, Hook's going to land after, and now Piglet immediately turns on the ultimate to try and fight Golden Glue down. Looks like turret is going to go down here, so TL, again, no pick, but they're able to take the objective. P1, though, smartly trading as they take the top outer.
Yeah, I think P1 has actually been playing this quite well from the deficit that they got themselves into. Anytime you're able to get these trades from behind, you're going to be feeling pretty good about it. And they are trying to get themselves to a relatively strong point. They may still be confident that they can just win in a long game. If you're saying, hey, TL is one of the bottom teams, although P1 is too. I mean, you may be thinking, well, they're going to mess up. We don't need to force a fight. We don't need to do anything crazy. We can just wait for them to make a mistake and then try to capitalize on that. So different teams are going to have different approaches to these sorts of disadvantages.
And again, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I think I am looking here to TL a lot to see just how cleanly this game ends for them. I mean, they are ahead. The assumption is that they'll win, although certainly that's not guaranteed by any means. But I mean, TL, you look at their series yesterday, and yes, they picked up a win, but there was some miraculous, like, I don't know how this even happened, level objective steals on both the Baron and an Elder.
Yeah, not the way you want to be, and Cho'Gath, Rainover just wanders in and Smite steals it.
Which is not the way you want to be closing out games. So with this sort of advantage, I'm curious to see exactly how smoothly TL can kind of ride this one out. And so far, kind of doing everything correctly. I mean, maybe P1 do think that there is a collapse coming at some point and still grouping to try and make a play as well.
I mean, they are doing well from ahead, but you also have to say that they're taking a lot of even trades as far as the turrets are concerned. And you want to be taking, dominant trades and stuff. But, from their point of view, they're up. They have great scaling. You don't need to do anything crazy. This Infernal Dragon is a good place to fight because they are going to have kind of preemptive vision and try to look to set that up. We'll see if P1 can do anything, though, because they have Package, they have Righteous Glory, they have a lot of these kind of strong early points that they have prepared. And if they can win a big fight and get that Infernal, they're right back in the game.
Actually, a ton of unspent gold for TL as well, both Rainover and Golden Glue have yet to go back, sitting on about 3,500 collectively. So Maybe a Ross spot here for TL to force, but still with a big enough gold lead to probably get it done.
I mean, we'll see if it actually is, because they gave up the inside track now to P1, and they're going to have to fight through Maokai Saplings, which is so annoying, and they're going to go anyway.
Dunk on an arrow, but special again, pulls him out. Matt finds a hook, it's on a Pyrian, Piglet around the side, but the flank is a shockwave. He's going to land in and take him down. Kick back onto Lawler, but the Lantern's there to save him. Rainover already repelled as TL surge forward to try and take down Zig. He's the next target. He is going to fall there to Lolo, and P1 just not enough resistance in that fight.
Yeah, great pick there onto Pyrian by TL. He would have had to flash some of that CC to actually give him a chance, because the start of the fight actually looked very good for P1. But once Pyrian is down, you have no chance. There's not really enough damage left in the tank. And TL out to a very big lead, grabbing the Infernal, grabbing a couple kills for themselves. Can be really happy about that one.
And they're going to go back and spend that gold. You kind of watch Rainover and Golden Glue's inventories light up. There's the Banshees done for Golden Glue with a blasting one to boot. And Leandry's now finished for Rainover alongside that Runic Echoes. Mike Young tried a steal, but will not be outdone by Rainover in his performance from yesterday.
And I think this is just really good positioning from P1 at the start of the fight. Your opponents have to fight through Maokai Saplings. Like, look at all the chunk on the back line, but then no flash on the hook there from Pyrian. Not sure he actually saw it coming, or at least could not react in time. If he avoids that, I think this is a fight that P1 can actually win, because Lorlo and Rainover already chunked out so heavily just from walking through those Maokai Saplings. So definitely a little bit of a mechanical misplay there from Pyrian, but credit over to Matt for a great hook that really secures them the victory.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pyrian, no cleanse, just heal, so not even able to get some additional help out of that. Hard to say exactly what you should be doing on some of the spells because there are so many variables, but regardless, P1 a mess up there in that spot, get their mid laner picked off, and TL in a pretty comfortable fight after that. Still very far ahead in gold, rapidly approaching 7,000 gold ahead. And with another Drake coming up in a couple minutes, it's a Mountain, not a second Infernal, unfortunately for them, but we're going to take over this top side of the map now as Arrow. Yeah, you better run. Good Cocoon, good Devour, everything's okay.
Yeah, and they're trying to get vision control around the Baron, because that could be the next step there for TL. If they could grab a relatively early Baron, they could be looking to close out this game pretty quickly here. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do so, as they are establishing vision control. They're retreating back towards that Baron, and do they actually start it up? I think they will.
Looks like the answer is yes. Piglet there with 2.5 damage items, just buying that last Whisper recently. Mike Young going to get zoned off by Golden Glue, but P1 can't see anything anyway.
Yeah, it's actually pretty smart from Golden Glue, just showing there, being like, hey, we're baiting. Oh, oops, you saw me, right? But they're already on the Baron. There's no vision. There's no way that P1, unless there is a 5-man squad, can actually push up together and check out that Baron with that little time left. So TL, good vision control around the Baron. They grab that objective and now are so far ahead. A lot of gold in their pockets, and they're going to be out on the map looking to knock down the remaining outer turrets.
Yeah, everyone goes back and buys, so really pretty much full duration on this Baron buff to really get some damage done in a siege. 4 turrets to 2 right now, and looks like the top and mid lane tier 2s are the obvious points of entry. There's already a wave built up in top. Looks like Pyrian's going to go ahead and answer that. TL looking to force down mid as first things first. Lolo working that bottom side wave as well, so TL should have tri-lane pressure as they look to kind of move to that second to last step before ending this game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this one looks almost all but wrapped up. Even looking at P1 player cams, no one's even talking, it seems like. You know, it seems like it's one of those situations where the team is maybe shut down a little bit from behind, and it can be really tough. And the only way you're going to get back in a situation like this is being very proactive, being very communicative. So we'll see if they can actually look for one of those plays, but they know it's going to have to be a miracle to find that sort of engage, to find a solo pick where they can actually start to really fight back into the game.
So TL already took the mid lane tier 2, so just kind of doing things the simple way here. Going to move everyone back up, or almost everyone. Lolo still bot side under this tier 2 in the top lane, and P1 going to have to start trying stuff at this point, because they're 10,000 gold behind at this stage of the game, and this turret's going to die and confirm that big lead. And TL still with a lot of Baron buff left.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of time, and if they can crack the inhibitor here, that would be incredible, but just extending the gold lead, extending the vision advantage is what they're really looking to do, because that is kind of guaranteed. And you can see they have pink wards in the bot side jungle, pink wards in the top side jungle. They're farming their opponent's jungle completely out. You can see Rainover moving around. He's going to farm all these camps before he actually goes back to his side of the map and farms those. So just extending the gold advantage that much further, trying to take every little guaranteed edge that they can actually get here. And now pushing in all sides, making this pretty tough for them to clear out. See if they actually make a push for the inhibitors.
Yep, TL again will have a lot of gold to spend, so no need to go too crazy here. Rainover just poking in onto Arrow, who did get good damage done onto Piglet, but looks like Empowered Recall set up for maybe one last shove. And now everyone's at 3 items. Piglet with the Rapid Fire Cannon now finished, Void Star finished for Golden Glue, and even a Locket for Matt, just to give them a little bit more combat power. Everyone on TL is fully powered up, and P1 gonna have a storm coming straight to the base.
Yeah, and Piglet not electing to go for the Essence Reaver. This is like, the build that he has gone for is the highest DPS 3-item basically. Well, I mean, Essence Reaver in there would be, but for this gold is extremely high DPS auto attack focused build. So it's so hard for even like the frontliners to stand up to this. I mean, yeah, Zig has some armor from the Righteous Glory, and he has the Bramble Vest and tabbies and stuff, but I mean, Piglet's already on 3 items plus a Last Whisper. Like, he has reached the late game stage, right? We have Golden Glue already on his Void Staff with 3 items. Like, these carries are online to absolutely shred tanks, and the tanks are way behind. So it's so hard for P1 to actually win a fight from here unless they can get some sort of miracle engage, some sort of miracle kick. I mean, if you can kick in Piglet and instantly kill him, maybe you can win a fight.
If that doesn't happen though, it's looking pretty dire here for P1 as Pyrian with the package might be looking to make that play, but Lolo getting all that administration done there, trimming that top wave, getting the pushing. Golden Glue going to do the same here in bottom lane, although no need to stay too long. There's even a Mountain Drake for them to get in about 5 seconds time just to make the sieging even easier. Looks like Baron Buff will wear off, so Tia will have time to grab the next one if needed, but they're all set up here. No real reason to delay any longer. Again, you know, don't need to go too crazy, but they're so far ahead that Till can afford to make a few mistakes here, and even then they're probably still fine.
Yeah, I mean, they know P1 has maybe one more play in them, right? And if P1 actually is able to pull off a great play, then, hey, they buy more time, right? But for TL, as long as you have vision control, as long as you're farming your opponent's jungle as well as your jungle, you're just extending the lead, extending the lead, extending the lead. So you can wait for them to go for that one play, that one last fight, and then try to absorb that. And if you win that fight, the game ends. P1 would have to win that fight and then probably 3 more fights after that maybe before they can start getting back in.
Yep, Cloud Drake now kicking in as TL looking to weave between bot and mid lane. Lolo still just presenting constant threat of minions towards that top half, and of course has TP if he needs to join. I mean, he's 2 levels ahead of Zig. I mean, their total experience is certainly very up here for TL, and got more than enough tools to try and siege down. In fact, pretty aggressively moving towards this turret once the wave goes down, and that turret's actually going to die here.
Here goes Zig. This could be the play.
So you're looking for it. Piglet, though, able to get out. In fact, they just turn and fight instead. He gets hooked down. Matt going to box him in, and now Piglet kites his way back around Zig, almost getting shredded as Lola. He's going to look for the dunk. Arrow flashes out of the way as Mike Young forced to book it. Zig going down. Piglet able to crit his face off. Mike Young almost down as Piglet. He's just going crazy under the turrets right now. Rainover lining up that last few pick. Golden Glue looks for the shockwave, but Pyrian flashes it, but P1 scattered to the wind.
Yeah, I mean, P1 back in the well. TL knocking down the inhibitor. They still have some minions. May want to just kind of go around the horde and actually clear all of them out. And it looks like that is going to be the option for them. They already have bot wave pushing in, but Hero has to be careful.
Piglet is playing with an insane amount of confidence here, as well as Lola TP's back in just to make sure this tower also falls down. About 10 seconds left on Mike Young. Zig following in just a couple after. So TL, they do the damage, they book it. And then again, just reset and do it again in top lane.
Yeah, it's so hard now for P1. Now with both inhibitors down, this far down in gold, they're so far down in experience as well, as you mentioned. I mean, Piglet up 3 levels, Rainover up 3 levels, 2 levels up in top lane. So the only real kind of close matchup as far as experience goes is mid. And here's the play again. Zig trying to look for that engage. They know they need to force something. It's not the ideal fight, obviously, but they needed to make something happen at that point. And Lorlo diving in, all of TL just chasing in here. Piglet and Golden Glue are both untouched, and if that's the case, there's no way you're going to win one of these fights.
Yeah, Golden Glue there, again, just committing the shockwave. Not a bother that it missed, because Pyrian was going to die if it did.
And gets the flash.
Yep.
So, I mean, they forced all the summoners now off their opponents as well. If you look across the board, Exhaust is really the only one left, and Arrow now caught out a bit, but we'll be able to get out of there.
Special saves 1. So you can save the rest. TL maybe a little too early on that play, but Baron's up in 5 seconds, so might as well back off there. Again, they know P1 don't have any summoners, can barely have any vision, gonna lose their blue buff. And I mean, apart from a couple of kind of sloppy trades in the early game on those turrets. TL very well was set up to perfect game P1 here. P1 still don't have a kill this late into the game, and it kind of speaks to the plays they have made that just have not worked out.
Yeah, I mean, TL has played a very good game. They can be proud of this game. From strong early laning to what's looking like a big engage here.
Time to go. Oh my goodness, everybody piling in. Zig, he absorbing a lot of that damage at the Lockets pop. Golden Goo just takes down that tank. TL shred through the front line. Arrow barely lives through the onslaught. TL just straight back to Baron.
Yep, go right back to Baron. Maokai is now down. So hard for them to actually face check into this, and I think it's going to be an uncontested Baron here for TL. Mike Young not even moving up towards that side of the map, so P1 going to try to get some minion waves under control, try to get a little bit of farm under their belts, but P1 are looking up against it. TL's going to be looking to make the death push.
And I like the pace that TL just kind of pushing here. They go for the engage, because you know what? We could sit on Baron, but no need to. No need to recall either. We're already far enough ahead with the Baron. Let's just make the most of the buff.
Yeah, and utilizing that Sivir ultimate, they're going to go right in, find the one pick, go right to Baron, pick that up, and now this is the third inhibitor going down uncontested. TL going to be looking to close out game number one.
Yep, not looking for these waves to reset, just looking to end the game as soon as possible. Zig is back, Rainover. Could be the first one to whoopsie, lands there, gets himself out of the way.
Oh,
Zig pops him all the way in. Dyro gets picked off by Golden Goo. Rainover lives, and Golden Goo just chasing the rest of them out. Still not dead as Rainover barely holds on, and Team Liquid will hold on to their flawless death record in this game. Hook barely missing a special as Mike Young Imperium getting blasted by Golden Goo's damage. And these Nexus turrets are going to fall. The Nexus exposed, and Team Liquid a very impressive Game 1 win over Phoenix One.
That's certainly one they can be proud of. You know, they won a series yesterday, but it was sloppy. Now coming in with a great game against P1, not giving up a single kill. They lose only 2 turrets. They lose no Barons, no Dragons. This was really very, very dominant stuff from TL from start to finish.
It was, and again, it was nice to see reacting well to a lot of these plays, and then by the time they found a lead, setting themselves up really well and kind of realizing, okay, you know, we are ahead, let's actually push our lead a bit, and actually closing out the game with significantly more